me let it go. Go, 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 go. Oh, let it go. I'm tired, let it go. Give your heart to Jesus. Let it take control. Just sit and worship. I know it hurts you, and I know it's painful. No way to wait, so you have to let it go. Your best friend is not your secret enemies. Let it go. Your wife is getting married to another man. Your husband are falling in love with another woman. Don't let it bother you. I've said let it go. If someone overlook you because you live in zero, if they insult you because you don't have nobody, if they say you will continue to be a zogo, if they say you will continue to be a prostitute, if they say you will continue to be a beggar, you will not marry, you will not bear your own children. If they say your knee is borrow, some they go to meeting, mommy can say no, Johnny, ginger. Just let it go. Jesus will change your story. Let it go. 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 Lord, help me let it go, man.
Yeah. All right, good evening, folks. Welcome to today's editions of Things Considered. I'm Alfonso Ziensout of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing your May Week with us right here on the Diaspora Informative News Magazine. Welcome to the show.
Now, while I'm still a good boy, Jehovah bigger than your problem, so just let it go. Just keep on praying, he will make your blessing overflow. To be the best and money rest, you gotta pray more. The God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the God of mighty blow. But there is power in your blood, and while I'm giving praises, yes. I gotta dance that David dance, they think I'm getting crazy. But love is how you make it, brother, may not be easy. Every time I sin, I'm on my knees, begging God for mercy. Thank you for your Lord, blessing and forgiveness. You solved my problem, Lord, you took me from the wilderness. Now only you can feel my struggle when I'm really stressed. So my papa bless me, then my enemy, they get invest. No matter what the problem is, man, just let it go. Your delay is not your denial, everybody know. Just keep on trusting in Jehovah, he will give you more. He took me from the grass, he can take you from the rock and roll. Yeah.
Go, let it go. Lord, help me, let it go. Your people are suffering, lying in the hospital, suffering from all kinds of sickness. Lord, help them. That sickness that reviving you, I say.
All right, this is the voice of Minister Walker fading away right here on the Diaspora Informative News Magazine, Liberia Public Radio. This is All Things Considered. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you so much for sharing your evenings with us. Let's get a program going here. Very shortly, we are falling behind time here this evening, and it's all because of the liberal progressive. You know, the big man, you can dump everything on. Okay, well, folks, welcome. I'm Alfonso Zia. So let's get the ball rolling here. Time is fast spent with a lot of news happening inside Liberia. Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's get a ball rolling here, and I'm gonna be bringing in our guys. Good evening, I'm Alfonso Zay of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Today is Wednesday, midweek. Ooh, we want to welcome all our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing to your Wednesday. With us, time check here is 8:17 Eastern Standard Time to right here from the New England Bureau. And it is a little what after 12 a.m. in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. Today is the what 28 October 9, the first big edition of LPR in news content sharing with Sky News and TV in Liberia. Our voices will be hovering over the Sky Communication Network right here. I will. The liberal, he's going to be on the other side in Sacramento. I think they're going to be very interesting how to contain this guy, because I have to do everything possibly can, because his ideologies are just not good for this modern society. We're going to do everything. If it costs me to throw him behind the line, I'm going to put him there, and nothing he can do. Black him, he can come. He scream, and at the end of the day, we're going to get it going. So, well, folks, that's not what we do. That's not what we represent here. We allow voices and to be shared. We want to welcome our viewers, Madam Hammond, thank you so much. Orita Cart, Michael, and all of the great people. Madam Morrow, thank you. To Washington Doe, Staten Mensa. Let's give recognition to these people for their commitment to this network. It's going to be interesting, because we intend to change the narrative of the conversation that is unfolding in our country. And it is the media that have the authority to drive. But we have come to realize politicians are taking control of the narrative because they build themselves media empire. That's another way to remain, to hold on to state power, because you will not have the ability to change. You will not have the ability to question to what they are doing. They are in charge. They are in the driving seat. How can you question them? And this is why they try to avoid coming to a certain network, because they do not want to be asked tough questions. We are here to counteract them. Let me go inside Sacramento, Sacramento, that is in California. One of the most liberal states in this country. That's where he chose to be. That's where. And he's within the proximity of Nancy Pelosi, the liberal speaker of the Democrats. Samson Blaku Branto. The Totan guy was at his best today. Yeah, begin. You correct. Let me break in the liberal progressive. Yeah. Everybody get a good side, they get a bad side. When it comes to the engineering aspect, nobody can pull full. But when it comes to the other side, oh, my last name. Oh, the liberal, good evening. Are you here already?
Good evening, Mr. Soul. Thank you. Thank you for having us. We appreciate it. Let's have a good time here again tonight.
Who brought you in?
Mr. Soul, the liberals, thank you for bringing him in. And the liberal, you don't come through these kind of stuff in the back door. Just like Dr. Weir, I come in through the front door.
Like who? Dr. who?
Like Dr. Weir.
Where are you now? Where do you stand in all of
The
this?
man who turned Monrovia into Miami.
Oh my goodness. Oh Lord, help me. Okay, liberal. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Soul.
Okay, so how's your May week? How was it today? You seem to it looked like you were very busy today, man.
Yeah. It's a brand new project. We have 3 of those. We have another major one up in the north. And the Congolese guy, the people don't want me to leave him behind. Whenever they call me, they want to make sure he's with me. And he's just like a little brother to me now. We've been working together for almost 20 some more years, 22 years to be specific.
So okay, our guy is here. I was seeing a contributor. He's also based in, I don't know why are you guys? You are gradually pulling as Mr. Ducolet, Jennington, the ANC stalwart. He's here. You based in California too, right?
Yeah, he's about an hour away from me.
Unmute your microphone.
In the Bay Area.
In the Bay Area. I didn't ask you how many hours, how many minutes. You're trying to make friends. You know, you and Jonathan, you guys can't get along. So don't even go there this evening here. And Jonathan knows that very well. You and people friendship does not last a second for whatever reason God one knows. If I want to try it, we will put it to test and see who's going to take the cookies from the cookie jar. Okay, Jonathan, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. To. So good evening for the time again tonight.
Okay, so as usual, we would like to make news proportional here. Let's see what is happening on the international front. We're going to be our brother's keeper, our next door neighbor to fight. We got to know what is happening in the surrounding our world. All right, this one here. Launched a water trial over 2019 stadium massacre begins in Guinea, according to France 24. Guinea opens landmark tryout over 2019 football stadium massacre. You know, you remember that 2019 stadium? Yeah. You know, just a delay. The delay of a justice is not a denial of a justice. Oh Lord, this is not a good one. Several dead, dozen missing after the Burkina Faso convoy attack. I don't know why. It's everything about it's crazy. Guinean ex-dictator Musa Dadis Camara jail on the eve of 29th massacre. Ex-junta leader Camara jail on the eve. Okay, that's the same news story here. And this is France 24 reporting all of these news as usual. So we'll let a pick here and there to see what is happening. Okay, gentlemen, good evening and welcome to today's editions, All Things Considered. I'm not sure what is on your plate as well, the Docolet and the Liberal Progressive, but it seems like this whole video saga that I surfaced the other day is not going away. It's Grand Jida Caucus, member of the caucus, they are making it speaking out for the first time officially. I did watch last night Senator Zoe Emmanuel Peno. As you know, he's currently in the United States in the regulatory job. It appears following that interview of Dr. Boley and Senator Marshall A. Dennis of Grand Jida County. They try to go much deeper as to how those who are responsible investigation should be launched and all of that. So that is quite interesting here. But let me start with the Liberal here. Liberal, what is the most alarming political situation now? The rest issue as well is still high on the plate. Politics are obviously going to kick in. We know the history of the rise scenario in the country from 1979 coming forward and all of that. Even from the Samuel Doe time, the other version was the transportations, and government invested thousands, millions of dollars where people were packing their transport, and government tried to do that. That did not work. I'm hearing people say they should have an open market. Yes, open market is good, but it comes with responsibility. This time, the government is on edge with this. It's a very serious thing. Rise directly, indirectly, it is a political commodity, especially comes the election. I'm not sure how the government is GOL effectively handling this year. Let me start with you, Liberal. Let me give you the opportunity. What is in your playbook?
Well, it's the right situation, but I want to take a different tune, and I think the right situation should not be politicized.
Take a different tone. Where is your tone going? I'm not a soothsayer to guess where you want to say. And please, my audience, our folks, they are here for clarity. They're not going to leave from here with a guess game. Oh, this is what the Liberals say. Oh, this is what I think. No. I want you to be precise, concise, all the size in your talking point. Go ahead.
Mr. So, we all know that you're a very tough journalist, And the fact that you're getting ready to have a show here does not mean you have to practice that on
I
me.
can't wait.
You can't
Let that
practice
voice
that
over
on
into
me.
Liberia.
So let me just tell you right now, there's no kumbaya here between you, me, and Jonathan, and but say who are the Minnesota politician who hopefully.
Will you speak for yourself?
Mr. So when the liberal is talking, that's when you try to
No, but
interrupt
speak for
and
yourself.
knock him.
You're not a poor man lawyer. You want to be Tiawan Gonglo now? Then John
Mr.
says
So that if you mind, I said there's not going to be kumbaya here between you, Jonathan, and hopefully Sisse and of course the central right going to be John here. Hopefully there will be John here very shortly. There's not going to be a kumbaya here. So please don't start as though you and I were on the same page this afternoon. Far from it. Far from it. I'm a liberal and you're conservative. We don't even see eye to eye. So please, it's not even face to face, let alone eye to eye. But let me just make my point. I will take the rights issue on a different tune. And that is, Mr. So, the rights issue should not be politicized. This thing started way back. So ANC and WNC and WYWA, whatever they call themselves, if they are unable to control themselves in terms of, because they think they have some sort of a political football here to run away with, and far from it. Let us do what we can as Liberians. If there's a means for ANC, and this is what I believe that ANC and even Dr. Bakai, we're not going to be, they're not helping us. You can't use this as a political football and as a political stunt and say because the sitting government is unable to manage the affair of the rights issue. I agree. What is your proposal? And if you have any proposal, make it new to the president and the sitting government, so perhaps they can utilize that so our people will eat. Y'all want to settle on the proposal. Y'all want to settle on all the good ideas just because it is not in your favor right now. So you settle on the good idea and say this government is this and that government is. I'm not here to defend the government. Let me make that clear. I'm just saying, as Liberian, if you have any kinds of meaningful suggestion for this government to implement that will be able to help our people be able to resolve the rights issue, make it clear. But instead, what do? They go about batching and then everything else about the government. The government is this, the government is that, as though they're not going to be in government soon. They're hoping to take state power. And when they take state power, then they most likely they don't want anybody to say anything anymore. They think that they now becomes Mr. Know-it-all, all of them, or the ANC, the WPP, the Unity Party, the Liberty Party, all of those things. I'm not here for partisan business here tonight, Mr. So. I'm saying our people are suffering, and if you have a good idea, bring it up. Have a conference for Christ's sake. All of you sit down over the Alexander Beacom, Honorable Alexander Beacom is sit there. Dr. Bakai or Honorable Honorable Ambassador Bakai sits there. Honorable Tiawan Gonglo sits there, and they're not going to have a conference. Have a national conference about the rights crisis so that it doesn't get out of hand. Don't wait until the government start having some issue with your people. You think if they start some serious demonstration in Liberia, that will be seriously affecting this government, you think there will be a peaceful conclusion to that? People are hungry. Have a conference. As a opposition, whatever you call yourself, have a conference with the government. Request a conference with the government and see if you guys can come up with one hair and put ideas together so that our people will eat, for Christ's sake.
Jonathan, I'm trying to get a little drink here. Let me see what I can stabilize man say. I just don't understand what's going on. Good to get your own glass of water because this is unbelievable.
So why you guys think after I'm done talking you need a glass of water? What is it? Little Rubio now going to be drinking water?
But
little Michael?
Liberia?
Yes.
Liberia, you know California is hot here.
There you go. So I am drinking because I don't know where this test just came from. Kind of like felt bench choke. So I needed to get a little bit water for my esophagus for it to clear because I'm trying to understand what's going on here. So, who are you? What do you represent actually? Before I go to Janitor.
Mr. So, at this point, and you as a smart journalist will try to put me in a box. I'm talking about our people eating. Today, I promise almost 10 to 15 people I'm going to be sending them some money to buy so for them to buy food. Where I got that kind of money from?
Oh.
Where I got that kind of money from? People in Grand Gide, people in Monrovia, everywhere else. Where I got that kind of money from? I'm not rich. I'm just poor like everybody else. But because what my point here is it's not because I'm a Liberty Party, or it has nothing to do. Hunger doesn't have color, first of all. It has nothing to do with politics. I'm saying here, I'm not angry, but I'm disappointed in all the leadership. They should come together. There's a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
They should come together. The ANC, the Unity Party, or anyone that consider themselves leader in Liberia, all of the stakeholders, this thing here, this rights issue, come on the table with the government and see how best you guys can have this thing resolved so that it doesn't get out of hand. My point here is this. You think the government, the government have problems right now. They ain't want to resolve the rights issue because they are in debt. You think if Liberian people start going hungry and start having some serious problems, demonstration in the street of Monrovia, just like the day in 1979. First of all, children gonna die. Secondly, you think then they will allow you to be peaceful? This coming election, when you already start that kinds of mess with the demonstration, I said the leaders, the stakeholders should all come together and show themselves for Christ's sake. And start hiding behind the politics and start hiding behind the political party business and show yourself so that Liberian people will know that their hunger, their suffering is people are paying attention. But instead, we got government, we got people in government, they're the ones responsible. Yeah.
So let's get it right here before I bring in Janitor here. You think this rights issue more or less is politically driven and coming from the opposition, shifting blame on GOL? Is
that's exactly my point? But I'm not. Let me make that clear. I'm not here to defend the government because I don't know the people in the government. But what I'm concerned with is the food issue in Liberia for my brothers and sisters to eat. That's what I'm concerned with. That's my issue. And I'm suggesting to these political leaders, let them come together. And I'm not saying they should come together as one political party. That's not my issue here tonight. But come together and have a conference with the government so that the government, you can put a proposal on the floor or suggestion how you think this thing can be resolved. Don't just leave it with the government alone. And then in the meantime, you sit here and criticize. Do something, show some responsibility at this time.
Is it the first time you're seeing the opposition not showing responsibility, putting all on government? Is it because people call you, multiple people call you now?
Because they want my money now. People want my money now. Now they think it's serious now. Before, when they were not calling me about money business, they say I'm with the opposition, we blame the government. But now people are calling me for food, or calling me for money. Now it's coming out of my own pocket now. It hurts now. They Liberian people, yeah, I'm being truthful. Because they're coming to me now for money that I don't have, and I cannot let them go hungry. Now it's hurting my pocket. Now it's time for me to say, start playing politics, bring up ideas so the government can have this thing resolved as brothers and sisters in our country, so that our brothers and sisters will be able to eat.
To everything, there's a backlash if it is not carefully done and if it is not strategically handled. Is there a fear? Is there some sort of apprehension within you that if the opposition do not, they are not mindful as to how the kind of like get their talking point going, there will be a backlash on them? Is that a
yes? Well, not just backlash in terms of politics. My concern is this, Mr. So we have to be very careful. The president was here the last time and announced to the whole world that the upcoming election will be peaceful, and be transparent. We have one more year almost. Now, You have the rights issue that is the really dangerous situation for our people. If the opposition, I'm saying they should all come and have a conference with the government. If the government refuse to meet with them, they can make that public as well. Then some of us will start making issue of that. Number one. Second, my main concern here when it comes to this rights issue, because if you start now, if the conflict in Liberia start on rice, people are hungry. When does it end? How do you end it? Because the government is not going to sit there for people to go on rampage, try to damage property in Liberia. The government is going to have to defend that. And then the peace that is being promised, the peaceful election that is being promised by the government will not be holding well. And this is why I say this right issue coming in at wrong time. And so everyone here must be on deck to resolve it. Put all politics aside for now. Let's find me why our people are eating and enjoying themselves. We can go and play politics. And we
so
say,
before I go to Jonathan here, I try to kind of guess thing here. So let me ask you, do you see a political ploy in this whole rice scenario? Is it a political ploy, and who is playing that game, you know?
I'm not going to point finger right now because I'm begging them to come together and resolve the issue. I cannot be begging people to come together and resolve issue at the same time pointing finger. I say this person is responsible, that person is responsible. That time will come. And when I beg and beg and beg until they refuse to do what they're supposed to do, then I will point finger. Just like I did with the 3 officials of government that were suspended the last time, begging them to resign, to give President Weah the face to come to the United States. Obviously, they did, but it took long. And I don't want to be begging these people for very long. This is very serious.
Okay, Jonathan. So, you heard the Liberal. I don't know, forceful, but in a different tone here tonight. The first name that came out of him was your guy, Cummings. He's not a favor of Cummings. That we know. This platform is known. He's created a theory. Cummings should go on, Boyka should go on top. That has been the trumpet he has been blowing over and over. From what I try to sense out, and he's still here, he can defend his position. He seems, what I get into sense out from him, like more or less Cummings is playing politics, or ANC is in a political ploy with this rice issue to tight the government. And he's calling they should have a conference. I'm wondering who should be the first one to extend that olive branch to even initiate such a conversation. What is your version from what you heard from by the Liberia this evening? Surprise or not?
Thank you so very kindly again, Mr. So, and thanks to the laborer who have made a point quite clear. What I can say to the laborer point is that nobody, not even ordinary person, including all of us on this platform and those following us, will keep holding all other person responsible for that problem except themselves and take any one giant step forward as a means of moving forward in a life. So what am I saying? When you own up to your responsibilities, it demonstrates maturity, it demonstrates the world, and it demonstrates that indeed you are prepared to right the wrong. We have said repeatedly that this President George Manuel Weah, the footballing president, has outsourced his responsibility as a president to a group of good-for-nothing people who are agents of government. And we are unapologetic for that. For rice issue to come up, and then opposition are held responsible because they are making it as a political conversation, brings me to the rudimentary. Why should there be rice shortage?
So let me ask you this question here before you progress. What I'm hearing now, are the opposition making it a political conversation?
If it has not come, the first question, if it has not come out, it will not be a question for discussion.
You are not
If
answering,
people, if
Mr. Dokale, you are not answering my question. Is the opposition making the rice issue a political issue to score political points, eventually to get to state power? That's what I'm asking.
this is what I'm hearing from people, from my own dear brother, Mr. Toh, my papa, Mr. Toh, and the rest of the CDC folks.
Do you validate his talking point?
I don't validate it. It's an economic issue, and it should be handled as such. When someone leaves from River says, come to buy rice, that person has the cash with them, cannot get rice, and they have to discuss it. And because they cannot get rice, they want to take political action for the government not providing, then it is that person's political responsibility. Our responsibility here, some 3 to 4 weeks ago, I said it. I'm not a prophet, but I said there will be rice shortage. Why is there rice shortage? Rice.
Where that horn? Who blew that horn to you? Because I don't think you are a soothsayer. You are giving the liberal last year. The liberal was very definitive. The liberal called out your candidate. He calls Alexander Cummings' name multiple times that his candidate Joseph Boycott, who from the winning basket. He just Boycott, you acting like he was stuttering, which of course that's not the kind of guy I know him to be. And it's quite true. You signed that you raised that alarm. So who whispered that to you, Dokole?
Now, the person who whispered that to me was former Minister McGill, when he publicly confessed that others can steal, but he will not steal money will be here. The reason is that rice, there are many other things. It's not only rice. Government subsidize schools, private schools that are cutting the university and other schools around the country that are meaningfully contributing. Government subsidize what you call hospitals and healthcare facilities. Why do government do it? Let's forget about rice a little bit. Government carry on these actions because they want the burden to not be weighted on the ordinary people who will go seek medical help at those facilities. So that if Ganta Methodist Hospital is receiving, say for example, I'm just making a figure up, $20,000 annually. That means if chloroquine or paracetamol should have cost $40, government is trying to negotiate with the hospital to bring at least to $30 so that people can be able to have access to medication. If the government refuses to live up to her commitment that budget have earmarked, and you are running into December, and Methodists can only rely on the drugs that they are bringing, definitely the burden must shift on those people who are going to take medication. In this instant case of a rice, 11+ million have been used for subsidy between the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Commerce, and the then Minister of State were all part of the process. What has happened up to current about the importation of rice to subsidize rice? Few days ago, I said to you people that to reduce inflation, the IMF, through the special drawing rights, you hear me, I keep emphasizing this thing because they are strong economic indicators, provided 350 million to the government through the central bank in order to reduce inflation. So that when all the rice importers, all the cell phone importers, all the gas importers, when they take that money, because our US dollar using the trust, to go out of the country, we can have huge inflation. That's one aspect. The second aspect, which is import and export, has to do about the issue of the flow of goods and services in and out of Liberia. So for one to shift that burden on the opposition, it means that person is saying we should collect the taxes, we should expend the taxes, because government are outsourced of responsibility, and the only confidence they have is in Mr. Cummings, and we beg that we are not having that authority, and we wish that we have that authority in 2024.
Okay, before I go to the Liberal here, does the opposition has a shared responsibility in finding solution to what we are having right now, the crisis? No, I don't. I would say in my own time, I'm not saying this is how the government defines it. Does the opposition has responsibility in finding solution to what is ongoing right now?
Every Liberian, including the opposition, got some level of responsibility. What about moral duty? What about this kind of conversation we are having to contribute as to how we can curb the situation of rice importation and a hike in price? And the way to do it is to provide economic solution to the government.
And who is providing that? Is anybody providing that economic solution to the government? No.
The first thing I would say, the CPP will speak about that matter. But one major thing we have to see is what happened to the economic forum that we had 2018 or 19, and made a lot of suggestions. Mr. Cummings wrote a decent paper, presented it to the government of Liberia. How the president made it available to the Liberian people.
Okay. Now you're taking her into deep sea now. I don't want the Liberal to drown. I do not have life jacket yet. I'm not we don't have people yet. The Liberal, this seems not to be going well with you. You steering your facial expressions suggest that you, and I said that here, my prediction will come to pass here. You and Jennington far from one another. But for whatever reasons, you thought you're going to tie the knot here this evening. You saw he firing back. He's taking her back to the economic forum that was held at the ministerial complex. And Cummings came out here. Now, you guys will get to understand me when I'm saying here on this network, it is time for your political leaders, for us to know some of these people that will be responsible to run the day-to-day affairs if they are elected. We don't know their economic advisors. But this time, as a political entity and major actors in the political process in Liberia, when these kind of things come out, we're supposed to be hearing their economic people to be putting your plan. You don't have nothing. Nothing. You just gave her a headache here. Hear what Jennington is saying.
Mr. So, thank you very much. What I can say here is this. It's about time that Liberians turn away from the so-called economic PhD and economists and everything else. They know nothing. They don't know fasting. They just got a PhD for nothing. They don't know fasting. Fasting, they don't know. And they're really spoiling this country. They come, oh, the person here got this degree in economics. Oh, yeah, the person will help us. Fasting, they don't know. They really, and I'm sorry. I wish I have gone through that program and have my degree in economics. Perhaps I would have done better. But this is very sad. Jay just mentioned something here. First thing is this. They want CDC and this government, and which I'm not here to defend. I feel CDC and this government they are inept. I agree with him on that. I'm not here to defend them. But my point here is this. Somebody is drowning, and instead of throw the rope over there, then you acting a Prince Johnson, drinking club beer fire. Why you holding the rope, laughing at the man? Oh, look at the man there, the man drowning. But they throw the rope.
What was up?
Yeah, Budweiser is there drinking Budweiser. Okay, while the man is drowning. This is exactly what is happening. Listen to Jonathan. They must own up to their responsibility. Is that going to be the answer? Is that what our people will eat? So even if they take up if they come out and say, okay, the government come out tomorrow and say we made mistake. What is your solution? What do you have? If the government comes out and says we make mistake, how can you help them? Number one. The second thing is this, and you heard Jay here, when you're asking question, oh, CPP will speak to that. They're not going to talk to the nothing. CPP is not coming out to say nothing. That's it. They're not going to say anything. And if they say something, watch when Cummings come out to say something. Cummings is not somebody that will try to speak above board. You start picking small thing, small baby talk. You bring it up. Cummings should pass that stage by now. My point is this, Mr. So. Our people are hungry. The rice situation in Liberia is not going well. From the importers of the country to the policy that guiding the importing business in Liberia, that guiding the rice distribution process in Liberia. It's not going well either.
Okay, wait. All right, let me hold you right there. We don't roll our scale yet. It's not going well on my guess, someone is in charge to have such a regulations in place in order for it to go well, correct?
Mr. So, look, we can do all of that when our people eating. Then we can say who was responsible. But right now, forget about that. So the poor people in place.
That was the one that was done to get us to this point.
I understand that, but what good it is right now if you try to debate that? You think right now by you talking about it, the government gonna go tomorrow and change people? No.
The point here is, was the rice then subsidized so that we have the flow of rice? I understand your frustration, Mr. Toll. That deal with the issue right now, confront the issue, and solve the problem. That the rice be available for the people. That's certainly a good thing.
So I expect you and the ANC, Jay, I expect you and the ANC people to ask for a conference, serious conference. You mentioned something about the economic conference the last time. Yeah, your ANC people, you're something else, though. Even though I'm not for CDC, I'm not a seditious, but you're something else, though. You're too, yeah, ANC, you're scared me.
I don't think
the president went, Mr. The Liberal is talking. The president went to the UN and said recently we brought Liberians together to have economic discussion. Based on our economic discussion, the IMF agree with us that we are doing things right. But because you call exam coming in, that's why I say you still wanting to mention our economic process. He already did. He touted that at the UN, and he said because of the economic conference, because it's good, so he take responsibility. He's the president. If it's bad, he will still take responsibility, which he doesn't do that, but he should have taken responsibility. If it's bad, you take responsibility. So the president went to UN and touted that you guys participated. So now you're coming back and say we had a conference. Of course, he talked about it, but that's not my point right now. Right now, Mr. So, let me tell you the truth. The money I promised people in Liberia, I want to save that money so I can enjoy myself small here. Let the government and the opposition do what they can so the people can eat and leave me alone so I don't have to send money home. But because they don't got nothing over there, the fasting that I got for myself to go, because I don't drink anymore, I don't smoke, I don't go to club. The fasting I keep for myself. I go and buy Burger King, I go and buy a McDonald's, I go and buy pizza and things like that, and kind of lay down in my room. But that the money now, my pizza money now, are coming to send to Liberia. Why you think I should not be frustrated? And I'm not the only person. I'm making joke of this, but I'm not the only person. Many Liberians right now, they can't wait till Friday for them to get their little money and be able to send money back home. And here's the thing, Mr. So, and I think all of you know it. You work here, whatever money you make, and other people have bills. You got light bills, you got heat bills, you got water bill, you got mortgage, you got rent, you got telephone bill, you got TV bill, all of those things. So by the time you finish paying all your bill, almost 60% of your money is gone. Then the people back home. And you yourself, this is what really hurting us. Many of you have experienced hunger in this century. Many of you have experienced hunger because at one time you were at refugee camp. When right now, if I were in Liberia, I finish eating heavy kobo and I call you, Mr. So, I eat all day. The first thing, you're not going to think about me, but the first thing you will do, you will think about yourself the day that you didn't have it. As soon as that thought go through your mind, you come and find the money to send it to me. And this is the problem. So even if those people are not hungry like they said they are, when they call you, you see people like people trimming how they can send the money. They will send it before they realize, oh, I don't get fast again, nothing yet. This is what I'm saying. This rice issue, not only is it dangerous for our political desperation, but if we're not careful and this thing split out of our hand, to put it back in a bottle, it's not going to be an easy task. Let the opposition and the government come together and find solution. The opposition want to be in government. They want to take over. So that means they have planned how to manage the government. Well, don't put it and sit down on it. Use it now. Let our people benefit from your ideas. You're going to wait until you're president before you go and bring ideas. By that time, plenty of people not die from hunger. That's my point.
Let's take a break, Janitor. When we come back, you have the opportunity to respond. I'm Alfonso Z, and so this is All Things Considered. We'll be right back.
Discussions, different perspectives, and audience participation. Get ready for our new media platform that connects diaspora Liberians to the Liberian nation. The Liberian World Today, coming this October to the Liberian Public Radio and Sky Radio 107.1 FM and Sky Communications Liberia online. Watch out! The Liberian Public Radio, in collaboration with Sky Radio and TV, presents The Liberian World Today, a 60-minute program that connects the Liberian diaspora to the Liberian nation. The Liberian World Today begins airing every Sunday at 12 midday Eastern Time and 4 p.m. GMT. From politics to economics, health to education, the Liberian World Today brings on top guests with different perspectives and potential solutions as they discuss Liberia. Join our host, Alfonso Zienzo, every Sunday at 12 midday Eastern Time and 4 p.m. GMT. That's the Liberian World Today on Lpr and Sky Radio and TV this Sunday at 12 midday Eastern Time and 4 p.m. GMT.
Okay, well, folks, just Liberian World Today is a new program. The first edition will be aired right here on the Diaspora Informative News outlet, Liberia Public Radio, on the 9th of October. We're going to be having that program right here. Let me go back to the guys. Yeah, Janitor, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, carry on. You listen to the Liberal. The Liberal is casting this whole thing on the opposition, which of course he's part of the group, that they are not doing enough. Are you guys doing enough? Is there any conversation, or somebody is waiting for something terrible to happen and they can capitalize on that to make a political gain? Should the opposition be reaching out to the GOL or GOL be calling the conference? Who should initiate this thing here?
The first thing to correcting the problem and wishing that the problem should not occur again is to take decisive steps. One, to establish as to whether the importers receive the appropriate subsidy, and those who are responsible should take full responsibility, and then correcting that measure by seeing to it that rice is available in the market through the government and people of to the government of Liberia, to the people of Liberia. The issue of rice, like poverty, the constraint and difficulty, the increment in prices. It knows no tribe, it knows no religion, it knows no political party. Everyone, one way or another, is going through the hike in the price of rice or the scarcity of rice on the market. Even my own family back home are going through similar tough times. Nobody, no matter which party you come from.
I mean, the solution, we are talking about the solution, and the problem is already there.
Mhm.
We are not used to managing crisis, but we create crisis. And that's why the Englishman say prevention is better than a cure. It's better to prevent it because you will not even cure it, or because you might even die in that crisis. Are we finding solutions? Are we part of a conversation, national conversation, because we are all aware is a major economic situation?
Firstly, we need to have the government, because we are all of us, whether we are from political parties, whatever the nature is, to correct the right brouhaha we already have, will not be about calling political parties meeting. It will be about the government and her agents sitting with the importers and having conversation. And if the government called such a forum or gathering with the importers to establish as to whether there is rice.
Should the opposition be invited if the government were to call such a conference? Should the opposition form part of that discourse?
I don't think it's needed for opposition. If it is economic forum,
you are mistake into this whole thing here. It's a national issue. Do you want to be excluded on the conference table when they are talking about national issues? You don't want your voice. You don't want your voice to be heard.
Look, there are too many different ways that the government can receive the recommendation from the political parties. Some of it is what we are doing. Some of it is what Mr. Cummings, Boaka, and other people will be doing. We cannot distrust that the government cannot, function. All we can say is this is how to go about. It is the government responsibility now to tap on the information we are provided.
Your argument to put out the recipe, tell the government this is what I transfer or present your idea to go. Is that what you're arguing? Or I'm trying to get it right here.
Yeah, because what I'm trying to escape here is that if we were to go to the forum of the importers or the gathering of the importers along with government, what different are we going to do there? The sole purpose of rice shortage is simple. Government has made commitment to importers for importation of rice through subsidy. Has it been available? Government need to ask herself through our agents. And if it is available, ask the importers why we came up to this agreement, signed, inculcated it into the budget, and we have made it available, and you created scarcity for our people. That will be government challenge to importers. And we, opposition, will be prepared to stay with government if sale have been done and the importers have refused. But what we know of, which has not been fully established yet, is that there is scarcity because government has not lived up to the commitment of the subsidy that should be provided. It has been stolen. And so because it has been stolen, the importers now do not want to run the risk, because for the business person, the first thing that comes to mind is the interest. And
okay,
so
before I go to Liberal, you say you use the war here, and I listen when politicians deploy certain war in a national conversation. It's sort of concerning. But what I try to avoid,
Escape.
You avoid it. You don't want to bother with it. You have nothing to do with it, but you want the crisis to continue. So let me ask you. You talk about scarcity. Is it artificial scarcity here, or is it done by politicians to get somebody's attention? Is it on purpose, do you think?
Firstly, I have to understand what people call politician. How many politicians are importing rice in the country, statistic-wise?
They are not importing right, but they are involved in political conversations like we are having right now.
Yeah, and the reason why they are involved in political conversation because there exists a problem. And that's why I went to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is subsidy. The question that is still to be verified is that it hangs around 11 million US dollar, between 7 to 11 million US.
So meaning,
what are we talking about there?
So meaning, GOL has not provided, or they have not provided enough clarity as to how this 11 million, who gets what, who received what, and where was it invested. Is that your concern?
That's why the GOL must call a public forum with the importers. Facebook Live must be there so that Liberian people can believe them that we gave your money according to the budget. We subsidize we can subsidize healthcare in Ganta Metallist. We can subsidize Cottington University at the end of the budget. Will raise voucher, and Cottington will execute that voucher so that poor children will go there. What it make it? Let me put it in the Oman for. What it make it? You're embarrassing us that we don't have rice available when we are giving your money for you to bring rice. Then I import our answer. There will be no political business in it. Simple.
Yeah. I'm feeling so bad because this has been my argument here. And what we say is the liberal and other people give justifications. This is where economic advisors, economic team to these people comes in, because then that's where they're going to have this sort of critical conversation here. But when you ask Joseph Boyka, I don't know his economic advisor. If Cumming get one, Cumming does everything he speaks. I mean, it is just insane. The liberal.
Mr. So,
before we change gear, go ahead.
If you want to know why the opposition are always unsuccessful, you just heard my brother Jay just give us a sneak peek of it here tonight. During the 2007, I believe, no, not 2000, 2017, no, it's not 17. The June 7 demonstration. During the demonstration, the demonstrator has the government on their back feet. And so the Minister of Justice and I believe other government officials decided to go out there and receive a petition while they were demonstrating. And they have had the people have their petition. But time to present the platform itself is higher. It's higher than the people who were supposed to receive the petition. So the idea was they were debating among themselves, the organizer. And Costa wanted them to present the petition. And a few other people said, no, they don't want to present no petition. They missed that opportunity. The graphic, the optic of having to present your papers down to the government official. They're looking up to you like this, and you're handing them down those papers. The optic. They missed that. And this is another point here. If you, the opposition, if you say we want to have a conference, we have solution, want to put a solution forward. First, in your own group, you have a conference among yourself and come up with those policy and come up with those solutions. And then you extend your hand to the government publicly. Judge we and the people are not going to accept Alex Cumming and Dr. Barker to come and resolve their issue. They're not going to do it. And I know it. But by you doing that, by you coming across as somebody with a solution, you have now set yourself apart from the government. The government now look like they are unable to resolve, and people are trying to help them, and they're refusing. That's going to go a long way. But now they don't want to do it. First, the importer conference that you're suggesting, Mr. So, if that conference was called, the opposition must be asked, they must ask the government that they want to participate in that conference. And even if the opposition has initiated that conference call, it's a way of putting the government and the importers on notice, on record. What happened? We are, besides the opposition, we're also Liberians. We're all stakeholders. You don't go in there as only just political opposition. You go there with all of the stakeholders. And then you ask the question. I know Comey will be given a platform. He's one of the leading opposition. He will be given a huge platform. And then you go and ask your question. Here is the budget. There's money in there for importers subsidizing. What happened? And each of these people will have to turn to tell you what happened. This is how you make things. You have to make yourself as part of the solution, not always criticizing. Come across as somebody who wants to just criticize. You criticize, but you offer solution. And the opportunity is going to escape these people, the opposition again.
So
they're not ready. They're not ready.
So what I'm hearing from you, we are at a very crucial junction. This is where they should show the Liberian people we are ready day one. The government, GOM, most likely will not.
Exactly.
It's not noted in politics of always ruling establishment to kind of lay down that white government that is coming from the opposition. So that would be seen as a weakness. But you use that for political purposes to throw it into their throat, and that so that they will grab that bait and you can have an argument. Yes. It appears to me you guys does not have that political tolerance to do that.
Yes. And so not only that, but if you make that offer, you have to be prepared. So in case, and which I know Dr. Weir very well will say no. He doesn't want anybody from outside to resolve the issue of the government. They're not going to do it. But when that happens, when they turn your offer down, then you come and make that offer public. You don't sit on it. You make that offer public to say, this is why we wanted to meet with the government. This is why we were going to suggest to the government. Now, another thing most likely going to happen. The government is very well known of being shameless. They will go and take that idea that they have refused publicly. They will go and take that idea privately and use it. I know so. But guess what? That process will be announced. And the Liberian people are not stupid. And they will know that your handwriting is all over that process.
So, okay, let me kind of do like it. The reason the 103 men and women, grown-up men and women, that are in the house of what?
Your mic, Mr. So, your mic.
Are you not hearing me?
I hear you.
Oh, you can hear him? Why I can't hear him? Sorry. Carry on, Mr. So. There are too many buttons here, too many buttons. Then man from total made a mistake and press one wrong one.
So yeah, is it. Why do you think I keep messing with this thing here whole day here today? Let me put it up here. I was talking the reason the 103 men and women, right? Capitol Hill there. All of these people, the two branches of government, the upper and the lower, they have assigned responsibilities, tasks. They have committees, different committees. And this is what we've been saying from time to time. And let me see what are the liberal will get a goss here to come out here to eat crow. These people, they're supposed to be busy with the Liberian people work for which they were elected. They jump out of it when they leave Capitol building. They don't review their documents. They go and sit on their podcast. They're loading. This one doing this. They're having tutorial classes and all of that. You have national issues. But this time, they should put aside Liberty Party, CDC, Unity Party, LAP, and all of that, and take phone calls. Start making phone calls. Hey, this is Akara Gray calling Nyombli Kanga Lawrence. We are on the same committee, blah, 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 blah. We need to call the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Commerce to provide explanation to get an insight of what is going on. They're not doing it. They have created, because they do not want to be answerable, they do it on purpose. They have created their own talking studio because they want to be in charge of the narrative. They do not want to answer questions. They have the authority that they want not lie to the Liberian people under the pretense that they're going to be clean, but not actually clean because they don't want to be answerable. And yeah, you guys here giving you a headache. We're talking among ourselves. Those are the people that are being elected. They are paid. They were able to reward themselves 30K, luxury cars, a lot of benefits, flying first class, lying upon it, flying middle class, lying for no reason they're supposed to lie. And we are having this sort of conversation because they are not doing their job.
Mr. So,
you can be, give me chance. You hire a day. Give me chance. Give me chance. These people, they are very influential people in their political parties, even if they were on recess. In these sort of cases, emergency meeting is convened. Come to a section and pull a bipartisan team together. And before you even attack the GOL, you try to work out the solution. We have seen that in as much Mitch McConnell and all of these people, but at times, for God's sake, for heaven's sake, they come to a logical conclusion, to a logical reasoning, to even assemble to reach, to have a conversation.
Mr. So, Mr. So,
that's not happening.
It's
not your time to speak. You need to stop interrupting me. Don't be like what his name is. This is not. I don't want to call other people here. You know the rules of the game here, and you know what I'm saying is actually this is the truth. They have no business to be having shows. We elected them. If you want to be a talk show, leave your job. I never saw Jack Reed, David Cicilline having talk show here. When they're having a robocall, they are talking to their constituents. You need to leave your hair up. Those are the people you support. And you don't talk to them. You don't look in their faces and tell them the truth. Because they say things you want to hear and you agree with them. All of you guys are the creator of this crisis because these people
Mr. So,
and the carrot. It's Jennington time to speak, my dear brother. You just ended it's Jennington time.
Very quickly, I agree with you that the government, through the legislature, should be championing the cause of the Liberian people, because in legislative politics, the House of Representatives represent the people, the House of Senate represent the land space, and they are the direct representation of the people. Everything the people go through, I mean, the lawmakers should be able to adequately represent our people. I'm concerned about the legislature, especially the emergency session that was called, or special session as it is called recently, that it did not capture the input of rice, because the president communicated, in my mind, and what I'm receiving from the Capitol building is that they were all paid, including our staffers, and all benefits were given to them in keeping with law. But we didn't hear about the rest issue. So it means that it was not part of the president's agenda. And if it was not part of the president's agenda,
stockpile. They're not going to be hungry. These people that get stockpile in their homes, in their houses, they don't care. That's who they are.
But what is more disappointing is that upon the president's arrival at the Roberts International Airport, he was informed, and the president said that it is political noise. I mean, there is rice available. So in my mind, either the public is lying on the president, or that the importers themselves are lying, and there where we must find whether this problem is a short-term problem or a long-term problem. But given Mr. To's analysis, it means that to get opposition involved, it means that it's gonna take a long time. It will create a wrong thought. It's not gonna give Mr. To his full understanding, because Mr. To has said Liberians are hungry. They need rice. This is not about talking
Mr.
about
said, what you say? Mr. To said,
thank you.
What you say?
The question which we asking here today, and I'm going to contact one sedition as a matter of fact.
Why you decide to contact sedition?
Because I want them to be here, because you will not be able to play the role. Mr. To will not be able to play the role. What happened to the subsidy? That's the cause of the question.
Very soon, we're going to have a supporter of the government to be a contributor. We are working on the same in conversation with the leadership here, and hopefully we're going to be having somebody to give them the opportunity to defend some of these critical positions when we are having this talking point.
So when we understand what went wrong with the subsidy, we can compare the importers to make where available. The government
if you are not willing to form part of the conversation, how can you get answers to this sort of legitimate question you are asking here? I'm not going to provide you answer. I have no idea. And I agree with you. This is where the problem is, and this is where the real ear eaters of these leaders sometimes they lack good judgment and they are just unable. Because if anybody, whoever the Archibald Bonad, I don't see these people as a new vessel. They are all political jerks being all around here. The president and the government should have been cognizant of the fact this was something that was breeding on the ground. And I'm wondering now that even if the president is away out of the country, whether the people that are left in charge, they provide some sort of debriefing to the president. This question was the probability 90% if you were to do anything, this question would have been asked upon the arrival of the president. And I was not either comfortable with the response of the president, because you don't answer a question like that. If you answer a question like that, you open more wounds for more questionings. I mean, it is a serious issue. If I was the president, or if the president's advisors, if they are done in the due diligence, there were being a way as a politician you address and answer certain questions in a certain way. But the manner in which he addressed that question, personally, I feel you just open a big Pandora box. The liberal.
But there was a wisdom, before the liberal coming quick, there was a wisdom in the president answer. And the wisdom in the president answer, for which this thing is a heavy hammer on the opposition. Then the government asking the importers, what happened to the money that we gave you people and the red short of the market? It sense that this money has been stolen. Clear. Rest available. Nobody will complain. A political nod. The people standing queue. You can't confront the importers. It means that something has been going on. They have stolen the money again. That's all you can say.
Is that a conversation within the opposition bloc?
As far as I'm concerned, as of the day that I told you, my girl is involved in the criminality of that money, and we have had a fast nonsense. That's why the president is denying that rice is not in scarcity, rice is available. I challenge the government of Liberia to confront the importers in a public square and lay this matter to rest, and you will see what will happen.
Liberal.
Mr. So, thank you for finally bringing me on, having put me in silent me for a while now, for finally bringing me on. But that's what you do, and you do that well. But that's not going to frighten me. That's not going to silence my voice. No way. This is what I want to tell you. As far as the legislative section is concerned, this rice issue, even though it's national, but it's executive issues. And I think the legislature have doing themselves a good favor of staying out of it. There will come time that most likely they will be involved by you finding out Mr. So the liberal is on. By then coming out and say we're going to have a hearing. And then you call the Commerce Minister and you call any other minister that is involved. As Jonathan correctly stated, if there's such money in the budget, they will call the budget committee will call and say, what happened here and call those who supposed to have been the one responsible to distribute the money to the importers. The importers, they're business people. They can come to the hearing, they can come and participate in the hearing, but they're not coming as people who are responsible for the scarcity of rice in Liberia. They will not be held responsible because they're doing business, number one. Secondly, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a common sense person. Secondly, Mr. So, the president, if these people, there's a saying in Town Town.
Oh boy.
They say when you go out in a bush to look for snail, you see the snail there, your eyeballs see it, but you don't just get and put your hand on it because you don't know what's around that snake. So you go and take a piece of stick and move the leaves from around the snail so you'll be able to see it clear and pick it up. Jonathan is just told us that most likely that these people have done something illegal in terms of the money and the subsidies. With all that said, Jay, you see the snail, you know the snail is there, nothing around it, you pick it up, nothing gonna happen to you, but you must use the wisdom. And what am I saying? The government of the Republic of Liberia, with all your suspicion, let it be clear. You send that invitation, you send that request to the government, public request to the government. First, make it private. The private channels that you have with the government.
What are you talking about here this evening?
Mr. So, the liberal is on. Why you want to act like, but of course you're conservative, so I'm not going to say why you want to act like, but the liberal is on. Do you find a pleasure to interrupt the liberal from time to time? I mean, this is not how you trying to interrupt me to take me. What's going on? Take me from my train of thought and do these kinds of stuff so that I will not be on par. The audience love me. They really like the way I'm talking tonight. I'm scoring point. Mr. So, and all I can say to this is, Jonathan, what I wanted on a very serious note, what I thought you guys will continue to do is to go ahead, ask for this meeting, prepare yourself, and if the meeting is refused, you go public with your suggestion. But if you don't, and you say the government should just go ahead and talk to the importer and ask the importer what happened, and you're not going to be part of it, for me, you're playing politics with our people food. So, ANC and the opposition are playing politics with our people food, and that is unacceptable.
So let me just get you on record. Good evening and welcome. I never suggested, but I think your argument is being directed at Docolet Jonathan. I never suggested here for the government to call the business people. That's what I was very definitive. I was crystal clear. I say both houses, they have oversight responsibility. They are different committees. They should be calling the Ministry of Finance.
Not yet. Not yet. Oh
my goodness.
Not yet. The government is still here.
What is the time?
The government republic, we don't got no banana republic over there. We got Republic of Liberia. The government is still in charge. The government have not come to the point yet that this thing is not going to be resolved. The rice is still there. Not many rice, but rice is still there. The point that I'm making is this. The Senate, I mean, the legislature, they should know when to call these people to a hearing. But right now, let's give the government.
Before I bring Sissy into this conversation, I guess he's been following. What is a reasonable time frame ideal for you? For you telling me it is not time yet. You told us here people are dying, people calling you, and you don't want to spend your money. So what is the time now? What is the time that they should call?
Next week.
Look, you start playing fun with us. All right,
Mr. So, I'm telling you, and ask me. Listen.
You're disingenuous here, Mr.
No, what do you mean? I said next week. I said why? You think I just come and open my mouth without any kinds of reasoning behind that? I do have reasoning.
Do you know?
But guess what?
Now to next week, do you know what's going to happen,
Mr. So? I do have my reason.
I don't care.
Of course not. That's what you do, and that's what you're good at. By
Okay.
silencing
All
me.
right, let me put you in the garage that you belong to because you guys
There we go.
love being in the garage. Let me bring in Sissy here. Sissy, good evening and welcome.
Hi, how are you doing, my brother? Hey, everybody.
Good.
Jonathan, the Liberal, how you doing?
Yeah. Look,
Welcome.
we in again here tonight. The Liberal, as usual, in his usual mood, but we are in the solution process, and this comes back to the point we've been saying. By this time, we need to have like B.A. Scarlington or people, close folks that are working with these people to address certain issues. By this time, we should be having the economic advisor, this advisor of all of these major actors to be having a conversation. But I can say they don't have one. I haven't heard anybody on major network. Maybe it's out there. If it is there, then my apologies for that. But they are not having a conversation. The Liberal is proposing that there must be a conference. The opposition, do you say the opposition should call a conference or the government? Who should call a conference? The opposition should reach out to the government?
Yes.
Okay. So is Gonglo reaching out to the GOL for possible conference on this whole rice saga? Do you know?
Well, not that, but before I address that, I wanted to push back on something you said while I was listening about legislators having podcasts, and in America, you don't see that. And I wanted to push back on you because there are quite a few senators and representatives actually have podcasts. One that come to mind right away because I subscribe to it is Senator Angus King, Angus King of Maine. He has a podcast that's called Inside Maine Politics. And he goes on there, he talks about everything that's happening in the Senate and how it benefits Maine and all that stuff to interact with people in Maine. So this is not a brand new thing in Liberia. And so we can fault the Senate for all we want, but these people don't live 24 hours a day on force as senators. They have their lives. And so when they go home, whatever they do with their spare time, I don't think we should be faulting them for that. Having said that, however, when pressing issues are in the country, especially when it comes to rice not being enough on the market, I think even though the special sitting of the legislature was called by the president and he gave them the agenda on what he wanted, I think smart politicians or politicians who are people centered would have actually added to the agenda and said, well, let's discuss the rice crisis and the rice issue. So I think that was a failure of all leadership and even senators who failed to call out the Senate leader to make sure they amend the agenda for the special sitting. As far as calling opposition and government people to sit down and talk about rice issue, I don't think that is an effective way to run a government. I think that would be the government saying we have failed and now we need other people to come and help us out. And then if that's the case, I think we can just have an interim government. What you can do, however, is you can have a similar thing like Joe Biden had today. Today at the White House, they started the conference on hunger, how to get rid of hunger in the U.S. And the president chaired that conference. He had people that own food shelf from all around the country, and people who activists who have been fighting for food justice to come to the table to come up with ideas because they're the one in the fields, they're the one working with the people, and see how government can help. And government comes up to the table and they have a solution. So I think the government of Liberia, if they haven't yet asked their commerce minister and all those people close up to food importation and distribution that work at the behest of the president, I think he ought to be doing that. And after he does that, I think they can come up with a solution. And I think now, if you want to have the Liberian people involved, you can make it a national conference on, say, self-reliance. How do we become self-reliant as a people? How do we feed ourselves? I think that would be a conference that you can invite everybody to. You can invite leading political figures to. And now they can come and give you what their ideas are on how do we have stability of rice on the market and how do we feed ourselves. But to just have a crisis and run and call opposition people to the table and everybody, that sends a signal. I wouldn't advise any president, whether it's mine or not, to even do that, because that shows that you've run out of ideas and you should not be in office, right? The last thing though is that I think the Senate and the House of Representatives, like the Liberal was saying, have oversight responsibility. I think you even said that, Mr. So, have oversight responsibility. They have the right at any time to call government officials.
The
to
Liberia is saying no,
yes,
it has not reached that
at any time, even here in the US, it happens at any time. They can call. They've called. Samuel 12 before so many times to talk about road funds. So why can't they call other people to talk about rice? I think that is their oversight responsibility to call the commerce minister and everybody else involved too, and the agricultural minister to come. Hopefully, she's not still under the indictment of the LACC, but to go and talk about rice, the rice issue. But I don't think she'll go back to the Senate because they still got issue with her with the indictment.
So let's push this here before we push around it. If we have let's look at the transparency in terms of what I want to welcome our brother here at Washington Zulu Whiskey. Let's see, because it's in very much interest. All of you here very, very much important. But when we see people way up, Jerome Tapas and Washington Zulu Granger County. Now, once they disclose their location, it speaks volume that people far and near, they are eager. They want to know what is going on. Not that he doesn't have work to do. I don't know how much data he's bringing there. This is why it's very, very much important that when we come to these conversations, we need to be very honest and sincere in our talking point. Jerome, thank you so much for joining us here, from Zwadroot, and I hope everything is okay here. So, gentlemen, before we pivot here, do you think is there transparency on the part of GOL handling this issue here, popular relations? Why keeping the people informed as to what is happening? Are they forthcoming with information? I don't know, because we've been having this conversation over and over. Maybe by this time, I'm not sure whether there was any press conference today. If it happens, well, I didn't see it. But do you think government is coming clean? Like the response of the president upon his arrival at the port there. I will tell you, well, I just got in. We are aware, and the relevant authority, they're going to speak when we have enough information, or we are seeking answer. But to say, I think he said was what, street talk or street something? Yeah, that itself is just sweeping things under the rug. And it's like it's not important or it's nothing. Of course, it is something. We see what is happening. So it brings me back to the question, if my president is out of the country, whether he's being provided, he's being deep briefed. And that will be overall the affairs of the country. As long as he's out of that country, we don't expect everything to trickle in. But the people that are in charge should, on the daily basis, brief the president's second meaning. But from the answer provided by the president, it's like somebody was caught unaware. Or like somebody just throw something on the Facebook that usual, oh, this is a Facebook talk. And so that's how you responded to it. But if those people that were in charge, if they were briefing the president and they were honest with the president on the happening, political, economic, social happenings of the country, while he's away for that little minute or second, all of those debriefings should be provided. Emma Joy, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. So. Good evening, Mr. Todd, Jonathan, and Mr. Cece.
Okay, thank you so much.
Joy.
Who wants to go first? Do you think GOL is honest coming forth with information?
Mr. So.
I can take that. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Mr. So.
Yeah.
Are you really serious to ask if the president not being briefed, debriefing? This president don't care about the Liberian people.
No.
He don't care.
Why would you say that, Amos George? Why would you
this man, being there where he's briefed 24 hours, whoever is in charge, upon his arrival, the question was posed to him. He said, rest in the place, that street talk. You, the president, if even you were not told, let me give you the benefit that even you were not told, and they ask that question, what will you say? Let me get my cabinet, or have you spoken to the Minister of Commerce? Or I will brief you people when I get to the office. But me, just ship it to the Minister of Commerce. So go to the Minister of Commerce. They will speak on that issue. But he came up ready to say that was
Amos George. Listen, let me hold you right there.
Mhm.
And we got you, Amos George, that I know. It had the president even said, go to the Ministry of Commerce to speak to that issue. Will you talk? What are you saying here today, this evening?
You know what?
Will you elevate? Will you justify the president's argument?
Yes, because there are people in charge. It means that you are not sure 100% to speak on that issue right away. So you don't want to talk from on top of your head. But what he did, it was that he was fully brief aware of everything that was going on. So that means the rest were in the port or in the store, and people were just trying to create a story. That's why he said that was a street talk. But the street talk, the Minister of Commerce cannot speak. The Minister of Information cannot get no press release. They cannot take, press crew to the port or to a rest store to say, see, I have a rest here. These are the rights. Why? We're seeing no rest in the country. But he came out upright to say, hey, that's nonsense. That in fact he will not listen. He don't have time for his critics. Those are his words. 9, he been in the country almost 72 hours. Gone. He, the president, nobody can speak on behalf of the government to tell us or to tell the Liberian people, this is the situation. Nobody. So the president tell the Liberian people that you people are not nothing. I do what I want to do. Because this is a political commodity. Besides that, it's the staple food. If at all there's anything wrong, but now the president should have a press conference to reassure the public that, look, there was maybe some gap here and there, but we are in control. I saw that we have the rest on the market, 0. So what that tell you? That's an insult to the people of Liberia. The president doesn't care.
The president. Those are very strong words. I think
Oh, yeah.
it was this is Sissy.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think
you know,
everybody have their independence here in terms of their interpretation, what they say, and how the thing is. So we can't, to the extent, go here. But those are very strong words. The president doesn't care.
well, I think Mr. George has evidence to show. I think a lot of Liberian people have evidence to show. I mean, the words might be harsh, but in its nature, somewhat George we have shown that either he doesn't have appetite for the presidency, or he doesn't have appetite to listen to critical voices or to even read. Again, this is a master's degree holder, graduate from DeVry at the top of his class. So if the president can take the entire cabinet and bring them to the UNGA, who's on the ground to get information is to feed to him. That is the problem. So maybe the people are supposed to be checking in with the rights importers or the one recording the video with him playing with Roxy or the Ballon d'Or. You know, and that is what you get when the presidency has been reduced to seriousness. So let's be very serious about that. And there's the Liberian Daily Observer actually quoted the president as saying he cares about the Liberian people. He doesn't care about his critics.
Yes.
His critics are not Liberians.
Yeah.
And this is how people start to pin people against each other. Mr. President, your critics are Liberians. You are not just president of the CDC. You are president of the Republic of Liberia. When you took an oath of office, you swore to defend the Constitution, conscientiously defend the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. And so you didn't swear to protect only seditions. Now, I won't go as far as saying you don't care about the Liberian people, because for me, I know you, Mr. President, before you became president. I know you when you were the darling boy of West Africa, when you were the black diamond of Africa. I know you when we used to go to Zinc Shack to sit there and watch football. As a matter of fact, I went to a Zinc Shack, a video club, just to watch his wedding, to watch your weird wedding. They play it in the video, go pay money to go watch it. That's how much I loved him as a soccer star, as an international player, somebody who brought prestige to my country. So I don't believe that he doesn't like or love Liberia, because he gave a lot. Even if it's just his talent, if he didn't give money, he gave his talent, he gave his skills for Liberia. So for me, I wouldn't say that he doesn't love Liberia. I just think he's lost the appetite for the presidency. That would be what I would say.
Chillington.
Yes, it is pathetic, to be honest with you, and that we'll be going back and forth with this very elementary thing. It is elementary because something needs to be done. Liberia Public Online Radio, there are many radio stations, both locally and diaspora-wise. It's public knowledge for how the president should proceed. It's a value added. And for the government to not be able to harness these conversations at different platforms, and the only response that we can have is that we have what has been said about the shortage of rice on the Liberian market. It's a street talk, make it even much more difficult as to how do we proceed. All of the long-term play we can talk about it, we'll talk to Indonesia, we'll call some of the subsidy on the rice, maybe the next 4 years to come, or 3 years to come, to put it in farming, to where you have accessibility of road network, quota, so that we can be able to export quality rice and have quality rice consumed in our country. Those are all long-term, strategy that we can think about. What is important today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, is that Liberians should be able to have rice. The money that they have in the pocket should be able to purchase rice without any constraint of saying you have to buy mosquito coil or aluminum foil or half bag of flour as a prerequisite to getting rice. We should know where the subsidy went. And I'm using the opportunity to call on our foreign partners. The U.S. is a very good contributor to IMF and other donor fundings. $350 million was given us 2021 to reduce inflation of 7.8, and to see how our balance of trade can be worked on that has to do with export and import. They should now be asking the government through a different international partners group what happened to the subsidy that has got something to do with export and import, which is a form of trade or balance that we have helped you with in order to have these things mitigated. And if the government has cut a speech or is not a speaking thing with the importers, let the Liberian people know so that we can take the bread in. Rights issue, all Liberians equal, opposition equal, no opposition equal, position equal, everybody equal. So it is not something that anybody can make politics out of. Our people need this rights, and we have to find a way to get this rights out. My appeal to the president is that, Mr. President, sit with these importers, then God venting to go to warehouse. Is the president responsibility to go to warehouse? The president responsibility to go to warehouse? Then what the commerce minister there for? What the inspector there, Ministry of Commerce for? Thank you, Mr.
Okay. The Liberal Progressive.
Yeah, Mr. So, thank you. I think at this point we have gone through. I just want to address something Cece said earlier, which of course he has a right to disagree with me, and that's what we do here. We're not praise singer here, except for Sometimes Jonathan will be singing the praises of Mr. So and Mr. George, which I frown on very highly. I mean, I don't think we need to do that. But let me just say this here. When I stated earlier that the opposition should be part of the conversation, it's not like because the government is weak. I'm not suggesting that at all. But what I'm suggesting, and I will still say this, is the people are hungry, the people are hurting. And those who have, like your man, Councillor Gongo, is a fine gentleman, fine statement, and he has done this over and over and over. I'm sure just by himself, he can offer a serious solution that if the government take it seriously and decide to implement that, things will be resolved in little less than a week, because you have seen it all. And so this is Honorable Kumi, and so is Ambassador Bakai. But for us to sit and say we don't want to participate, I think them but just sit here while our people are drowning and struggling, then if we do that, we're not going to be successful, because you then sitting on a gold mine, so to speak, sitting on a gold mine while our people are drowning, then what kinds of leadership are you bringing on board next time if you want to seek the leadership position of this country? If you are unable to collaborate with the government, even if the government is going to rebuff you, which they're going to reject you, which definitely they're going to. My point is, make that clear. Make that intervention process public, so that people will say, you know, not just because you're playing politics, but that you are serious and that you do have a solution. And once the government refuses your solution, you can now come out and put your solution in a public forum. Or even you yourself should set up a forum yourself in Liberia with other stakeholders and discuss it publicly. What are some of the proposals? What are some of the things that you have in mind for which the government is not ready to take the responsibility to accept you? It's not because the government is weak, but if you're a government and you see that you have serious issue, and the problem or the solution can come from the opposition, why will you be considered weak by resolving issue to help for the Liberian people to eat? I think that's a sign of strength for me. So I strongly disagree with Sisi on that. But as far as the Mr. George's suggestion that Dr. Weah do not care for the people of Liberia, I think it seemed to me that he has put himself, Jonathan, the ANC legislature analyst, Mr. George has replaced him here tonight as somebody who is stuck in a mode of campaigning. And as a result, we are unable to get him out of it. Thank God he ran out of here because he knew I was going to go down that way. He ran literally. You saw Mr.
Don't get caught.
But anyway, for some reason, he because of technical issue, he went off. Let me just say that. No, but on a very serious note, this Mr. Joyce's assertion that this president is not serious is laughable, to say the least. Because the reason why I'm laughing at it, this is the president. I'm not here to defend the president. He can do better than any of my statement here tonight. But the point here, this president have put Liberia on the map on many occasions. He does. He seriously care for this country. However, it is those, and I will say it over and over. It is, I believe strongly, those who are asked to implement his policy has failed us and failed the president.
No.
So, Mr. So, as far as I'm concerned, this conversation is a very good one. and I hope we will continue with it.
Mr. So, can I make a correction to the liberal politician? I my pushback was not that opposition politicians should not proffer ideas and solutions. My pushback was the way you ask for those ideas to be proffered. It is. I agree with Mr. So that this is the time where, um, um, just like Mr. Cummings wrote a letter to the president, this is the time there will be an op-ed in the Liberian dailies from these opposition politicians saying how they would deal with these challenges. It is not upon them to go and seek a meeting with the president that was elected to say we came to give you a solution. With that, they don't have to do like Lester Tenney. Remember, Lester Tenney said you will force the president to accept the advice. Opposition politicians don't have that luxury. They don't get to go to the president and say we need you to sit down for us to proffer a solution on the way. But what they can do is they can give speeches, they can write op-eds and talk to the Liberian people, and hopefully the president will read those op-eds or his people will read it, and then they can put them into place. So my thing here is I'm saying that the way, the reasonable governmental way to go around this would be akin to what happened today in D.C., where the president can call a conference on an issue. He can call a conference on self-reliance, on how to feed ourselves, and he can call the political parties together. And but to call a conference to say, "Oh, y'all give me a solution on how to solve the rice problem," when you are the incumbent, that is laughable. Every major capital will laugh at them. When again, this is the Republic of Liberia president, not our high school or eighth grade class president that asks you how to do this thing. There's a difference. And so the last thing is, I know the liberal always like to, defend this president on that, people that are implementing his policy. You are a manager. I saw you today. You are a supervisor, Mr. To. I saw your video. I was in school today when you're going live talking about the work you're doing. You supervise people. When people don't build the roads according to the grades and the measurement you give them, it is on you. You go and check them. But the point there is you give those people a guideline. The president does not understand his own policy. So how will people, when people misimplement it, how will he know? If he doesn't even understand, ask the president, ask the vice president, ask any five of them randomly. What is the proper agenda for prosperity? You get 5 different answers because none of them understand it. So how you expect people to implement something that they do not understand is my problem. So I really believe that the rice issue should not be politicized, and that is why I am calling on my own guy, Tewa Gonglo, and Komis, very smart people, to come up with an op-ed, to come up with solutions. We can't hold these for elections. We have to proffer solutions. That's how the people will tell the difference between us and George Weah. We can't hold them to our chest. We can't hold them to our breast because this issue, people are dying from it, from hunger, and we have to intervene. That's just the point I wanted to make.
Okay. We have maybe 15-20 minutes to go here. Let's place this. News never just fade away completely. We talk about it lengthily on a network here, but it's just been resurrected in the southeastern side of Liberia, Grangita County. Was a house fire with this whole video thing here. 2 lawmakers, they are speaking out, apparently on the same trajectory, and the other one on the other end. Let's listen to this here, and that will be our take-home conversation here this evening. Let's see here. Hopefully, I can bring this out here. Oh, what happened to A? Where's something to now? Put it again. Something to. Anytime this guy. Okay, let's listen to this here.
Mere propaganda. And if it's mere propaganda, then propaganda does not go that way.
So you don't condemn it as a caucus yet?
So we said it's damaging both to the country and to the country. Okay?
But it's not condemnable.
That's not what we say. It is condemnable based on the outcome of the investigation.
So in other words, you haven't condemned it yet. You are waiting for the outcome of the investigation.
Of course. I think that's appropriate.
Let me jump into this here.
Let me make some clarity here. Look, you don't jump to things from the seat of your pants. Okay? We are responsible people.
Representative Boyle is speaking.
Yes. First of all, government is not running the media.
Okay.
We don't just make press releases or just speak because people want to hear from us. When you hear from Dr. Bole, you better be listening to something that makes a lot of sense. Okay? So we don't jump by the seat of our pants. Not that the video is not damaging to the country. Our people are scared, weightless. And we need to find out why these things are being done in Grand Country repeatedly. This is not the first time you hear about these types of issues of Burkinabes and people trucking into the country from far and near. This issue has been in the last 5 years. Okay, so it's a national security issue, serious national security issue.
You listen to your colleague, your vice chair. He said it's not condemnable until the investigation outcome is out.
Well, you expect us to issue condemnation for something that we wouldn't know the facts about? That is not expedient. That's not prudent.
So you don't condemn it at all.
So, I know you want a yes or no answer. It is condemnable. It is condemnable.
And that's what we
said.
said.
And that's what we said. It is condemnable. But
you still put a conjunction to it.
Yes, there has to be conjunctions.
Why do you put a conjunction to it?
The conjunction is that we need clarity. Look, we're not people who just get up and make statement because of leadership for caucus. We are just as concerned about this country as anybody else. Nigeria is my home. Okay.
So, gentlemen, we need clarity. One group saying this thing has happened repeatedly. This is not the first time. So we must know the root causes of this. There must be some sort of investigation, not just only condemnation. Like in a diplomatic world, you and they condemn, but then 50, 100 people are there, you condemn. Okay, it doesn't bring back life. Do you guys have an argument? Should they find the root causes? Should they get to the bottom line? Should GOL, does the GOL has even the ability to carry out an investigation? And if investigation is being conducted, will we know the findings of those investigations, if any? So if you listen to that, Dr. Bole and Senator Marshall Dennis, well, they won't get to the bottom line. And I listened to Senator Emmanuel Zo Peno on the other side has his own argument. In fact, by the way, I reached out to him to see if we will have a conversation. He's here. He came with the president. And he's still here and I'm waiting to see if Senator Zo Emmanuel Peno will answer our call. Let's start with you, Amos. I know we're going to be wrapping up here.
Yeah. Let me just say
who are the valid point here?
Let me just say something. Mr. Toh talk about George Weah love Liberia. He had done so much. Mr. Toh, I'm not talking about the life of George Weah in the soccer world. I'm talking about George Weah in the life of President of Liberia. It was the one that the Liberian people entrusted with the nation. Now no minister, now no deputy minister. It was George Weah that the Liberian people entrusted with the nation. He employed his lieutenants, and he has a right to dismiss them if they are not performing. The government cannot tell us what any storage, emergency, contingency plan. If this fails, this is what we can fall on for 2 weeks. Nobody can talk to you. And the president is not even speaking to the nation. And you want me to come and sit down and say, oh, the man loves the nation? Far from me. Well, let me go to the video. That's why we said on the network the other day that the GOL came up boom to condemn this video. But they didn't tell us, or they have not told us, what mechanism they put in place to find out who did this video and bring the perpetrator to justice. They pointed from our opposition. And that the police is 100% correct. The two of them. How can you condemn someone when you don't have no facts? Oh, because you might just pray, you might just do a prayer and send the government condemn it and you follow it too. And listen to that interview, they went further to say something. They say this is not the first time in this country. Burkinabes had been flooded into the country, and they mentioned Burkinabes in that video. So that the president, they are 100% right. Let GOL tell us how far they're going with the investigation, if there's any, or if they're going to do anything. Who are those who will be in charge? What is the committee set up to investigate? So condemning this video, no. They are 100% right. GOL cannot just get up and condemn and everybody follow them. Let it tell the source of this video. They got enough money They are the government. They can pull resources together and do better. They can fly to Miami. They can pull bag in their chest and walk around. They got enough money.
Amos George, where is Miami coming from in this conversation?
But I'm not far from Miami. I got resident in Miami.
Oh my goodness. Unbelievable. Okay, Dr.
Yeah.
Who is making a point here? Zopen on the other side. What is his argument? It should be condemned. Investigation is not really of a major concern because in his term it's a fake news, it's a fake video. The government has condemned it, the international community and his colleagues failing to condemn this here. They are more or less playing politics of it. Who is pushing the line here for us to get to the bottom line?
Firstly, I would say it depends. But how do we view condemnation of the video? If condemnation would mean that the people of Grand Julia County are associated with it, then I don't think that's the kind of condemnation I'm talking about. A condemnation would mean that the person who put that video together, in as much as there are pieces of information that are security sensitive, that can be used to serve as an investigative tool, but I think there are elements in the video that require condemnation of creating a blood, putting pressure, bringing back the past memory. So what I would think in this instance is that firstly, it must be condemned, one. Secondly, not condemned as in relegating it as no, it means nothing. Secondly, the pieces of information in that video that have been emitted by Senator Marshall Dennis and Representative George Bulley should be properly investigated about the Burkina Bee, the training of other people. The training of other people, yes, we can condemn the person who make the video because we don't know which network it came from, how it came about. But Jackie Brown, an NSA agent, former U.S. trained soldier, have been training people on the beaches in Monrovia against the security ethics of our country. Why you are training them, we don't know. That same NSA person arrested a Luscious store when the election was going back with Botokane arbitrarily. So it was investigating some of the information that have been provided in that video. So that would be my point. Lastly, because I know we are closing, I would like to say that the rest issue is an urgent issue. It is not a long-term plan that we have to sit on a forum. The opposition, like I said initially, the opposition will respond to the issue of rights. But the government, the onus is on the government to take the appropriate steps forward by asking the importer why there isn't a rice. It is the importer and the government that is representing all of us that go into business and transaction. So the government must be able to face those importers and establish why there isn't rice. And if the government has done a part of the business and the importers are not doing it, the government should take legal action against the importers for why they are creating shortages on the market. And the Liberian people will stand with the government of the Republic of Liberia if the importers are doing otherwise. Instead of shifting all other blame since 5 years ago on everybody except George Weah, who says the rice shortage is a street talk.
Sissy.
Yeah, so on the issue of the video, I think I think we had an interview. Was it about when we talked to one of those. Remember, we had an interview about this Grand Judah caucus and the venom that is amongst members of the caucus. I think you've seen it right here. They're arguing over almost nothing. Every living Liberian, every human being, knowing the history of our past, most recent history of our past 20 years, ought to know that I really am not worried about the somebody who sat in their basement and did this. I don't think that's what the condemnation is about. The condemnation is about the substance of this video. And I see opposition politicians trying to play with this thing, and I don't like it. I think we're walking a very slippery slope when we start to take parts of it and say, but somebody said this before, and it was in the video. And somebody said this one before was in the video. And so now let's justify, well, let's not talk about the video because, yeah, we know it was wrong, but how can you get addressed the thing that wasn't talk about in the video? Well, the first thing is, if people have been saying that before, opposition politicians should have seized upon that and pushed that. What I heard Dr. George Bolle say in this video is that people have been making statements a lot of time. They've talked about Burkina Beach being in the jungle. He didn't say he knew about it. He said people have been making those statements. And so for me, I think that this ought to be condemned by everybody, but also investigated by the NSA. There are ways that they can find out the origin of that video. There are ways they can find it out. The National Security Agency should have that capability. If they're done, they need to reach out. There are a lot of Liberians, qualified Liberians, that can sit with the NSA and find the source of that video. I think that video playing on the most recent painful history between Nimba County and Grand Judah, I think was despicable. I think it's abhorrent. I don't care if people have been saying it in the news before. I, as an opposition, will not say, well, the people talk about this before Burkina Faso, let's investigate that. That is a very, very thin line we're trying to cross. I am not comfortable crossing that line. I think that the government of Liberia should take this very, very seriously and investigate that because it has the propensity to put us at loggerheads and put our brothers and sisters back at each other's throat. Let's not forget the centuries of relationship that existed between the people of Nimba County and the people of Grand Judah. These are traditional cousins. But for the want of power, people pitted them against each other. And I'm not going to sit here to try to say who was right, who was wrong, but I'm just saying that this is despicable. Every legislative caucus should condemn this. This should not be something we're going partisan corner because you can even see in the legislative caucus, Zoe Manuel Peno is already in his CDC corner, and George put it in their own little corner, and they're fighting over much ado about nothing. Condemn the thing, and then demand an investigation because this borders on national security. The last thing I got to say about the rice issue, I was just watching the video when the president was, I think, senator, and during early time he was speaking about rice scarcity. When the scarcity is low, and you do surplus. But back then, the president actually gave an economic policy speech about what to do when rice is scarce. Mr. President, please go back. Mr. President, please go back and revisit that speech, that paper, that policy paper. Please dust it and implement it. And by the way, I'm still looking for Roxy. I don't know whether Roxy going to how to call it, play Miami now.
No, Roxy want to see the veterinarian. The veterinarian. We want to see the vet.
The liberal.
Excuse me?
I said the liberal. Take her on for the evening.
Thank you, Mr. So. Yes, I saw the video, and we're talking about my county to be specific. But, and again, I'm not here to defend the president. What I do here most of the time is that see it, call it as I see it. And if it is in the favor of the president, so be it. But people know that I'm not a sedition, so I'm not worrying about it. But yes, what's happening here? First thing is this is deeper than just Dr. Bole and Honorable Marshall Dennis. This goes into the inside of the operational aspect of the legislation process in Liberia. If these people were together, not just the Grand Leader Caucus, but I mean the entire body itself, if they were truly representing the people of Liberia, not just to be greedy and take money, Dr. Bole and Marshall Dennis should have gone to their friends and asked for a hearing. That's where you start. Why the government can be doing their own investigation on the side, but that should not be enough. And you ask for a hearing based on, from the security apparatus of the executive. But because they are not together, they are doing it in a form of protest. And when you do it in a form of protest, you're not going to be able to achieve anything. They did it one time, a month ago, which was quite correct. They refused to participate in a July 26th celebration based on the fact that their son is missing, and they don't see themselves being happy to celebrate anything when they have their own citizen missing, which is quite correct. But people took it differently. And now again, they are saying that they were not condemned, not necessarily come out publicly to condemn this video, the process of this video, until the investigation is done. They're also right. But I would think that people who speak for a particular segment of the county, I think you will come out, first of all, to condemn. But your condemnation should come with the responsibility and the caveat, to say so to speak. To demand what we're condemning, and I'm just paraphrasing on what perhaps they will say. We condemn this video because, first of all, Grangidians are not people who goes around hosting people who want to destabilize this country. We don't do that. However, our condemnation should not just stop here. We should go farther than that. We're demanding as well that the government and everybody else get involved and find out where these things are coming from. It could be Grand Gide today. It will be Nima County tomorrow. It will be Bon County the next. Where do we stop? Who do we gonna say that because we have Grangidians, we have people from Burkina Faso that are here? What's about Nima County that have so many people from Guinea? What's about Bon County that have so many people from Guinea? Should we now make a video, or even Lofa County? Should we now make a video and say, oh, there are people from Guinea, so everybody else, they in Lofa County, and therefore this is wrong. But for you to say we're gonna condemn only when we have an investigation, then I think you're missing the mark. And Mr. So these two gentlemen, they are decent Grangidians. They are people who have fought for us to survive. And they're not going to sit here for Grand Gide and Grangidians issue to be taken lightly. I support them, but I think they should move forward with the condemnation and demand an investigation.
But let me ask you something quick. When they had a meeting about that, that missing guy, was Zopen a present? Has he spoken about it?
Mr. George, I'm not going.
You seen that? Yeah. They should go to the Zopen again. But I'm asking you, when they was
I didn't say Zopen. I said.
Okay, guys.
Mr. So can I just make some clarity here, please, if you don't mind? What I said was that if these people, the entire House of Representatives and the Senate, if they were together, they would demand a hearing, a committee set up that are also responsible for the oversight of security business in Liberia. And Dr. Bole and Honorable Marshall Denner will go through those processes and ask for a hearing, not to condemn. What they're going to get from Zopeno. That's not the point. I'm not saying that they are playing politics. That's not what I'm getting at. But I'm saying that they should have gone there if they were together. But right now, even if they try to go with that process, most likely they have already tried and failed. And most likely have to do with the fact that they refuse to participate in the 26, July 26 operation. And so people who are CDC sympathizer who didn't like the idea, they rebuffed the idea of even having a hearing. And so they were forced to publicly come and denounce, not just denouncing, but they don't see themselves apologizing, condemning unless they have investigation. That's what I'm not just saying. Thank you.
Okay, well, guys, the old man on the wall time is no longer in our field, but I'm surprised. Dr. Cat says it, Amos George. We're talking about the rest issue, which is, of course, the repercussions, the shortage, the scarcity, or whatever you're going to say. People are feeling the pains right now. The Liberal did not call for hearing, but now he's calling for the immediate hearings of the video. What a war we live in. Wow.
If a question, I don't support the president, but
All right. I'm not going to relegate this conversation again. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. Amos George, Cesar Goyot, Jonathan Dulaket, and the most liberal on this network. What a fascinating conversation this evening, your expertise. And of course, the kudos go to our prime time, valuable follower listeners, always patient. And their comments, their tweets, always get us to move in the direction that we are moving. Usually, all of us will go back to the live podcast and see their comments, their exchanges, their interaction, the level of persuasion that they bring to one another from the different discourse. Guys, I want to thank you so much for your time, your energy, and this sort of unique way of giving back to your country. I think it's resonating. It's paying off. Our brother watching from Zulu Whiskey Granger this evening, and there are many others who perhaps do not want to disclose their location, which is okay. We want to thank you. Even if you are here by just taking up time to be with us here, indeed is remarkable. We really do appreciate that. Don't hesitate to critique us, express your view, your opinions, and of against, for whatever way, as long as in a civil context, we are welcome to it. Guys, thank you so much. Have a pleasant evening. And then to be who carries the bad night here this evening, Amos George, you know?
No, I want to be on the show the week or so. Me, I can't no name.
Okay, Mr. Told the show over. Don't feel the micro. The old man, he more than Donald Trump. You don't call me Donald Trump. He tried to the microphone was that even. My goodness. So just for that, I will play you this song here that tell us we should let it go. We should let it go. You know, sometimes we just gotta let it go. Guys, have a pleasant evening.
Let it go. 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 Lord, help me let it go. Help me let it go.
Well, that's the sounds of the Princess, Minister Jemima Walcott, voice. Let it go, fitting away right here. It's on the Diaspora Informative News outlet, Liberia Public Radio. We are excited. The first segment of our program, the Liberian War Today, will kick off right here on the 9th of July. At 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be hovering over the Republic of Liberia on Sky FM and Sky TV in Liberia in the first edition. My first guest, will be Vermont Ambassador Louise Gassetet Brown will be my first guest. I'll be appearing on the 9th of October at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the Diaspora Informative News outlet, Liberia Public Radio.
Solve a problem, Lord, you took me from the wilderness. That's true. Only you can feel my struggle when I'm really stressed. So my papa bless me, then my enemy, they get invest. No matter what the problem is, I just let it go. The delay is not your delay.
We're going to be going in depth of this endorsement, what it means with that to resonate to a voting block. These are many questions and how it came about. What does it bring to the table? Carla, thank you for coming. Our man Mikey, you in Miami? Good for you. Terry Collins, thank you. Is one of our prominent listeners. Edwin Kezo, thank you so much for coming. And thank you for coming. Fisher Peters and Achimo Fredericks, thank you so much. Cole Gloria, Ali Mohammed. Amadou Stewart, good evening. Child Glory, it's no exception to you. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are.
Let it go. I say you spirit of suppression.
Good sons and Walla Hinens, our primetime viewers, good evening, good morning.
Depression.
Victor Okoro.
Oh, I'm tired. Pack your low and go. If you're begin, take your chemo. Let it go. Your best friend, take your horse.
Oh, that one nobody can easily let it go. Come on, they're gonna be a big fight. They say good evening and thank you for joining us right here on the Liberia Public Radio. Asha.
Just let it go.
St. Peter Stanley. Good evening.
Yeah.
And Prince Fanat, good evening. Thank you so much for your time. Kai Kafali. God with me, Collie. I love this name, God with me, Collie.
Your husband, children, fatherless. Let it go.
Demetri Davis, good evening. Gregory Cruz, Cruz song.
Let it go. Papa, let it go.
Jaron Tapper, thank you for chilling with us this evening from Zulu Whiskey right there inside Granger County, the southeastern side of Liberia. Tamons Alexander Roberts, good evening.
I want to pay. You are become a boo-boo man.
Mohammed Dole.
Your best friend is now your secret in
Lassan and Sanon.
your mother-in-law.
Oh, Jesse, good evening.
See you. Are your jaw side?
Oliver Tuope.
I say in your family.
Eton Topubat and Conan Fakat.
For one day, Jesus.
Good evening. Thank you so much. And Abdul Tai Conan Yata. Nyankabat, hopefully, and our own boy Tadori. Thank you so much for all of your commitments and time here. Tamazika, Tamuzik.
How long were you all?
Prince Peters, always firing a position, all talk, no solution.
You are holy on.
Good evening,
Jesus to run no.
And Peterson Gobert.
It is painful, let it go.
And let's go to the Garden Cities of New Jersey, where Tony and Sylvie is standing by. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening.
Let it go, let it go, let it go.
Just join me here at Monday, the 9th of October. That's going to be the first edition of the Liberian War Today. The Liberian War Today is a news and magazine going to be coming right here on the Liberia Public Radio in the beautiful news content sharing with Sky Communication Network and Sky TV in Liberia. We got to make our presence felt. And this is why we take these conversations, these discussions very seriously, not too politically driven, but we must ask all of the tough questions. Louis Gausset Brown, the last time I interviewed him was what? 2000, when was it Ebola? 2005? He was then the Minister of Information. That government is off. He recently endorsed Benedict Alexander Cummings. What endorsement, what it means, what does it bring to the table, how he got to this point, what would be his level of involvement? These and many consequential questions meant to tease the brain will be asked right here on this network. I am Afonso Zienso. Have a pleasant evening, and we'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye.
I just want to thank you.